Hi everyone, and welcome to the Finding Slope Foldable. So we are going to start by finding slope from equations. So this first flap here is by finding slope from equations. And if you listen in the background, you'll get to hear my lovely cats who are crying. Apparently my son did not feed them, so I will feed them when I'm done with this video. The form of the equation that you guys are most used to, the one that you know from middle school, is y equals mx plus b. And if you remember from the Exploring Patterns packet that you worked on last class period, m represented the slope. So if you get an equation, m is going to represent the slope. And so you just need to make sure that your equation is written in y equals mx plus b form, and then you can easily find the slope from the equation. So let's go ahead and look at the inside here. Here are a bunch of equations, and all you got to do is look for whether or not it's in y equals form. So here we have y equals 4x minus 12, so this 4 is going to be my slope, so m equals 4. And in this second one, negative 3 is going to be my slope because it's the number right before x, so m equals negative 3. It's that coefficient of x. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and figure out the slope of the next three equations. Okay, so on this next one, m is 3/2. Sometimes slope is a fraction because we use rise over run, right? And on this one, m is negative 5/3. Don't forget, when you have slope, you have to include whether or not it's positive or negative. And on this last one, m is 1/4. And then I wanted to include two more examples on this because I feel like it's missing something. It's missing when it's not written x first. So like, what if I had the equation y equals 3/2 minus 1/3 x? So then what would the slope be? Well, remember, the slope is the coefficient of x. So there's two terms here, and so I'm going to look at this second term, and I'm just going to pull that negative 1/3. That's going to be my slope because that's the number next to the x. There's x, so we want to take the negative 1/3. So you go ahead and do this one. It's y equals 1/4 plus 2/5x. You figure out what the slope is, and the slope is m equals 2/5. So finding slope from an equation is super easy. Sorry, I didn't highlight the plus sign. I could, but normally if it's a positive, I don't usually highlight that, sorry. Alright, so finding slope from equation is super duper easy. All you do is find the number before x. Okay? Alright, so the next one's going to be finding slope from tables. Okay, finding slope from tables. And so remember, if I have an xy table, I'm going to pick 2 points, and I'm going to draw arrows, and I'm going to find the change in y and the change in x. So change, triangle, means change. Okay? That might be something you've never seen before, but I always write change with a triangle. I don't want to write out the whole word change. Okay? And then over here, we're going to write rise over run, and that's equal to how much does the y change over how much does the x change. Okay? And so remember, if you have a graph, remember, what is the rise? Well, if this is an xy graph, like there's the coordinate plane, right? What did we say the rise was? Well, the rise is how much it's going up and down. And so y is the rise. So I kind of always remember y, the y's are the rise, and the x's are the runs. Okay? So y rhymes with, sort of, with rise, and that's how I remember it. Okay? So the y is the rise, and the x's is the run. So when you're looking at your tables, xy goes like this. Sometimes we have tables that go sideways, And so remember, xy goes like that. Okay, so x will be on top and y will be on bottom. So just don't forget that if your table goes sideways. Okay, alright, so let's look on the inside here. Now remember, all you do is only look at 2 points. If there's more than 2 rows on the table, then you can cross them out. Okay, we aren't going to be concerned about any more than just 2 rows. So I see 30, 40, and 50. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off 50 because I don't need it. And I'm just going to be looking at these 2 rows right here. Okay, so between 1.5 and 3, it's very important that you put whether or not it was positive or negative in our change. So this changed by 1.5. And between 30 and 40, this changed by positive 10. So when I do my rise over my run, that's change in y over change in x. Remember, y rhymes with i's, rise, okay? So y goes on top. And the y's, remember, are this side here. So this is positive 1.5 over positive 10. So 2 positives mean that this fraction is going to turn out positive in the end. And then on our calculator, we're going to divide. So you're going to divide this and then push math enter, enter. So you divide and you push math enter, enter, and that's going to get you your simplified fraction. Okay, so when I'm done, when I divided and pushed math enter, enter, I got 3 over 20. Okay, let me see if I can pull out my calculator so you can see what it looks like when you divide. So remember, you're going to divide, oh, don't put a bar on it, there we go. Okay, you're going to divide 1.5 divided by 10. Okay, that's going to get you a decimal, but I don't want that decimal. I'm going to push math, and then I'm going to push enter, and then enter again, and it's going to give me that fraction, 3 over 20. Okay, so that's how you change that. That's how you simplify every single one of these fractions that I'm asking you to do today. Okay, so let's look at the next table. We're going to do the same thing. There's more than 2 points here, so we only really care about 2 of them. So let's cross off one of them. You pick one. So I'm going to cross off the bottom one. Okay? So now, how much did the y change? Plus 5. How much did the x change? Plus 10. So remember, it's rise over run, change in y over change in x, and that's positive 5 over positive 10. And when I divide that on my calculator and push math enter, enter, okay, 5 divided by 10, top number first divided by the bottom number, and then math enter, enter, I get 1/2. Some of you already knew that was 1/2. You didn't need to see all that work, but I just wanted to show some of you who didn't know. Okay? Alright, so now let's look at these sideways graphs. So we're going to do the same exact thing, except for this time our graphs go sideways. Okay, so my change in x is plus 2, and my change in y is plus 0. Remember, it's rise over run, where rise is the y's, so change in y is going to be first. How much did my y change? 0. How much did my x change? 2. I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm just going to be sure, because sometimes when I'm dividing with a 0, it gives me an improper fraction, or it gives me an invalid answer. So let's do 0 divided by 2. Oh good, I just get 0. So this graph, the slope is 0. Okay? But if I look at the next graph, how much did the x's change? The x's changed by 0. And how much did the y's change? The y's changed by negative 5. Notice how I wrote it went down 5, negative 5. Okay? Also, I did forget to mention you can always cross off that third point if it bugs you. Okay? Alright, so 0 and negative 5. So it's rise over run, where rise is the y's, so y goes on top and x goes on bottom. And so how much did y change? Y changed to that -5. And how much did x change? 0. Now, divide that on a calculator. Okay? -5 on top divided by 0. Calculator says error dividing by 0. It says attempted calculation contains division by 0. Calculation fails. On my calculator, because that's an update that I had for this colored calculator here. I have the one TI-84 Plus CE. It's a pretty cool calculator. It's a little more expensive than the regular TI-84 Plus, but I like it because I'm a nerd and I like it. But anyways, this just means that this is not okay. This is that curse word. You're cursing at your calculator, okay? So we're going to say this is undefined. The slope is undefined. Okay? Basically, when you get this error message that says, you try to divide by 0, calculation fails, that's your calculator cursing at you, saying undefined. Okay? Alright. And this last one. So it changed by +2, and up here it changed by +2. Remember, we don't care about this one. And it's rise over run, where the rise is the y's. So it rose 2, +2, and it ran also +2, and so that gets us 1. So the slope for this one is 1. Okay, so that's finding slope from a table. Alright, finding slope from ordered pairs. Okay, I prefer to take ordered pairs and to just write them in a table. Okay, there is a formula. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if you like this formula and you keep careful track of your negatives, I have no problem with you using it. I just don't use it, okay? So the other method that you could use is to just put them in a table. Okay? I prefer the table method, but we will go and do both methods on the inside here. Okay? Alright, so the two ordered pairs we have over here, we're going to use the first method, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And remember that this one is x1, this is y1, and this is x2, and this is y2. So, if I'm following my formula, I'm going to do y2, which is -4, minus, and then y1, which is 6, over x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is 0. -4 minus 6 over 5 minus 0. You could literally type that exactly as you said in your calculator by pushing alpha y equals and then enter. And you could type -4 minus 6 on top and 5 minus 0 on bottom. And it would tell you your slope is -2. Or you could actually solve it like I'm doing. M equals -2. Okay? Alright, so if I did it on this side, it's going to be y2, 4 minus 4 over -3 minus 0. And when you do that, you get 4 minus 4, which is 0. -3 minus 0 is -3. Divide that on your calculator, and you get that the slope is 0. Okay? So that's using the actual method, the equation that they give you on the star chart. If instead you wanted to make them into a table, it's pretty simple. All you do is make your XY table, and you take the first ordered pair and you just write it. 5, 2, literally I write 5, 2. 5, -2, I'm literally going to write 5, -2. Okay? Then you draw your arrows. This went down 4. This went +0. So it's rise over run, where the rise is the y's. So change in y over change in x. That's -4 divided by 0. And when I type that on my calculator, -4 divided by 0, I get my calculator cursing at me once again. So what is this one? This one is undefined. Okay. Alright, if I want to make a table for the second one, same thing, x, y table, put the numbers right in the table. 6, negative 2. So you just literally write it from left to right, and then 5, 10. If I owed $2 and now I have $10, how much money did I go up? 12. And then from 6 to 5 is down 1. So slope is rise over 1, where rise is the y's, so change in y over change in x, and that equals 12 over negative 1. So m equals negative 12. Okay? Alright, so that is finding slope, and that is going to go on page 21, I think, in your spiral. Not sure. I think I have my spiral here to look at. Sorry, totally forgot it. But it goes on the next page, so whatever you didn't glue it on. I think it's page 21. I might be wrong. Alright, you guys, that's slope from equations, tables, and ordered pairs. You also learned slope from a graph today. Make sure you get your homework, and I will see you later.